Welcome, friends, it is I, your LostScarf, and it's time for a new patch notes here. It's not a very big one, but we should still talk about it, and here we go. Night Prowler Bastet is here now. Look at that hotness. Bam! So she's had a pretty eventful month. They made her a remodel, they buffed her up so hard that people thought she was OP, so they nerfed her, and now she's got a Catwoman skin here. I know people are a little annoyed about variety here, because this is just such an obvious skin to give her. It's still a good-looking skin, though. It's a nice-looking skin, I like it a lot. Let's take a closer look. So right here, Catwoman here, Night Prowler Bastet. Very shiny in specific places. Don't want to spend too much time looking, but, done. Okay, there we go. So, voice pack, check this out. So, she has a new voice pack for it.
I'll defend the Gold Fury.
Just listen to that.
Stepping away for a moment. Defend left lane.
See, it's softer.
Attack left lane.
More alluring.
Ultimate is down.
Meant to entice you in a little bit.
I'm returning to base. Defend left lane. Defend right lane.
It's very impressive considering the regular voice pack.
Enemies have returned left.
Which I'm a big fan of anyway.
Defend the left lane. That's too bad.
But you just hear the difference in their voices in that, and that's really impressive how well they've done this difference in voices. Just really good, so good job there. Just good job.
Stepping away for a moment.
That's just really nice. Well done to the voice actress on that one. And that's not the only one that impresses me. Isis also has a new voice pack for Scarlet Coven. And this voice pack is awesome. Here it is.
Attack fire giant.
Right there.
Good game.
Listen to that accent. I love it.
Enemies have returned right. Enemies in middle lane.
Great accent.
Attack fire giant.
I'm impressed.
Be right back. Enemies incoming middle. No problem. Enemy missing left. Out of mana.
That is awesome. And her you rock is you suck. You suck. That is her VER. That's so great.
Enemies in left lane.
I forget what the other ones are though.
Oops. Be careful.
She tells some pretty corny jokes, which are great.
Out of mana.
So she's like the Count and Count Chocula, and it's just great.
Gank middle lane.
Just great.
I'll defend middle lane.
I love it so much. Alright, now there were a couple other things. There is a change to cleansing CC. And that, well, you can use Geb as the example, and that is rollout with Geb. Okay, so prior to this patch, if you hit slow on Geb while he's doing his rollout, he'll be really slow and he doesn't really go anywhere. And then he'll hit his CC immune state and still won't go anywhere, because he's still slowed. What they did is, when a god enters CC immune state while with a CC like slow, they will cleanse it now. So, if you slow Geb at the start, he'll be really, really slow. And then when he hits his CC immune state, he breaks the slow and just rolls fast again. That's what happens there. Shibalanke has the same thing. Agni has the same thing. I can't remember who else has that. But essentially what it is, you were slowed, you did something that should have broken the CC, but it didn't, and you were still slowed. Now you will. Because you could do something to Shibalanke, since I gave that example. You could slow him, he does his dash, he hits that CC immune state. Despite that, he still will be slow when he lands. Now, it cleanses. So there you go. They did this because they felt like it was very inconsistent, not having that in there. So now that it's there, it just feels more consistent in general. That was their feeling there. Another change is to bans. So now there should be 6 bans now. 3 on each side, but it's different. At the start, you get 2 bans each, as normal. Then each side picks 3 gods. Then each side gets to ban another god, and then they pick the last 2 gods for each side. So what does this mean? Well, let's talk about it competitively first. Competitively, pro teams know each other. They know who they're good with on both sides. That's what they know. They know that. So when they see these comps, they have to take into account comp. Are the first 3 gods, what comp can be made out of this with the next 2 gods? Bans that have been made, so it's like, who's available, so who can be picked for this and that. And lastly, who is good with what gods on the other team? So taking these 3 things into account, a pro team will decide who their 3rd ban will be that late into the banning phase. And so it's a very interesting idea for that. Now, for everyone else who does like League and 5-man pre-made, what this does is you just look at the comps, you say, okay, here's the 3 gods they got, here's 3 gods we have, here's the bans, okay, so here's the gods that are left, these are the ones that are available. Take into account these 3 gods they've chosen, what god would be great with these gods? Okay, this is the god we think that would be great, so let's ban that god. That's basically what you do. So it changes up strategy in picking comps now. So that's really what it does there. And it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes going forward. Kumbhakarna has been bug fixed, so he can now be played in solo and mid lanes, and in the future we will see a game of that. Don't know when, but we'll see it. Nemesis is the only god that got nerfed in the game today. And what it is her Retribution has been nerfed. Now we know this is the one thing that had a problem with Nemesis the whole time is she's really strong in all these other abilities, but because of Retribution, she's just impossible to kill, and she could turn around thousands of damage in 1 second. That's what's so great about her. And that's just too much. That's how I've always felt about it. Too much to have on one god, and it's not even an ultimate. That's really how I always felt about it. And they refused to nerf it. They gave it some extra seconds on it on the cooldown the first time, and then they had to nerf everything else. They took away some of the slow and slicing dice. They put the cooldown on it. They took away damage. They made the ultimate shorter. They also messed with the stats a little bit on her ultimate. They did all these things because they didn't want to take away Retribution's potential. And now they've nerfed the potential, and we'll see what they do to the other abilities because of it. So Geb Shield's worth 650 at final level. Hers is worth 500 at final level. And you can't stack them anymore. Also, she can only take damage from gods for the shield. She can't take damage from the Fire Giant anymore, or minions anymore to her shield. They will just hit her directly. The shield ignores them. It's only affected by gods. Now, shield's HP is 500, and it will heal 50% of damage taken to that 500 HP on the shield, and it will deal 50% of the damage taken to that shield as well. So what that means is, if you get hit with an ultimate, let's just say Alakwang's, not counting the magical power, just the flat 800 damage on it, get hit with that. You will deal 250 damage to Alakwang. You will heal 250 HP, because that's how much HP the shield has. And then you, of course, negate 500 of that damage. So what this means is, essentially, when you get hit with 800 damage, 250 damage goes to Alakwang, and you negate 750 damage. And then the extra 50 will hit you. That's it. That's all it is, right there. So that's the easy math there. They also added another second duration to her Retribution, so now it's 2 seconds long, so you can be a little more lenient with that. But that's what they've done. So you guarantee do, at most, 250 damage to an opponent when they hit you. And at most, you will negate 750 damage. That's what happens there. So the shield is now really good as an escape, and just a way of survival, not so much as an aggressive tool as it was used in the past. Because I know something I used to do with it was, I see a Vulcan ult, I'll run towards it and eat that ult and kill Vulcan for the most part. Or an Alakwang ult, or a Ra ult. Like, if I see a big power coming, I would run towards it with Retribution, use Retribution, and bam! They die or they're really beat up. And nothing happened to me. And it was really fun to do that, but that was also kind of stupid to me, that you could do that. So, I'm glad they took away some of its aggressiveness and making it more defensive. Is this too much? I don't know. We'll see in the future, but that's what they've done. And we'll see if they have to buff up her other abilities in reflection of this. Nemesis has been having very high stats since she's been in the game, so we'll see what this all does to her. And that should be everything. In the future, we'll see a Kumbhakarna game and a Nemesis game and a couple other games. Will that be today's game? We will see. But that's all that's going to come up in the future. So that is the patch notes. I had fun. Hope you have fun watching and listening, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.